give it a. It has started recording. Yes. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. You can take away the screen. How do you want the question and Q&A to be? It should be on the Q&A, or people can ask away. How do you want it to be? Can they ask at the end, or
yeah,
do you
they
want
can
it?
just ask. They can just ask or post
Okay,
in the
sounds
Q&A.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Emma, for doing this. Please welcome Emma. She is joining us from Armenia, I think. I guess, right?
Yes. It's 4 a.m. for me.
So give it away for Emma.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emma
Okay,
Saroyan.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Emma Saroyan. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you so much for having me. I hope you enjoy my presentation. Today, I will be speaking about generative AI for web development, which is something I'm sure you've heard of, or if you're a web developer or you have built web apps, this will be very useful for you, I hope. And this presentation is inspired by my book. I'm going to share insights from my learning journey by through writing a book, that the things that I learned. Um, and you can read more about it if you go through this QR code, through this link. It's about building web apps using OpenAI APIs and Next.js. So today my presentation will be in two parts. In the first part, I will go through some of the concepts of um, generating a web page with Next.js. And in the second part, we will see a practical
Emma,
example.
your voice is breaking.
Can you hear me?
Emma, your voice is breaking. It is breaking. Can everybody hear? Um, can everybody
Um,
hear Emma? Please, if you, it says that we have a problem. I don't know whether it's my end. Okay, I can hear fine. So Ed is saying, okay, go ahead. I think it's my internet. You have been given a moderator access. Go ahead.
okay.
I think it's my end.
So in the second part, you will see a practical example application of generative AI in web development, in building a fully functioning Next.js web app with AI generated illustrations. And yeah, if you have any questions, just ask or post in the chat. So the problem that we have is building a Next.js web app with ChatGPT. If you have used ChatGPT, I don't know the audience, but probably you used it at least for simple things, for asking some questions and getting some answers. And you know that ChatGPT is not very good at logic and at reasoning, even though the latest feature models are very have significant improvement in performance. But in general, ChatGPT can hallucinate, and it can give, if you give simple logic problems, you will see that it gives some random answers, and which are not always true. But in web development, actually, if you learn how to use it effectively, it can help you build web apps faster, and it can be a very useful tool. Um, so the problem that we have is the generation of the web page. So in this case, if you give ChatGPT this simple prompt, generate a web page for Next.js, for some kind of website, if you give this one line, it will give you this very long answer. Um, the problem here is that simple prompts give bad outputs. Prompts that are just 1 to 2 sentences, they give poor results. ChatGPT is very verbose. the code that it generates can sometimes contain syntax errors. And another issue is that ChatGPT you uses old versions of APIs and libraries, and they develop very fast. Yes, OpenAI releases new APIs and libraries all the time, and usually it uses the old versions if you do not explicitly like state, or you do not do some work manually. You have to do to avoid these kinds of problems, and you will see later in the presentation. So this is the poor or wrong approach. But the solution is the chain of thought, where you write detailed prompts with numbered steps, and ChatGPT is bad at guessing what you want, but it's very good at following instructions. This actually is based on the research that I've done and the book that I've written. But I wanted to mention that all these like AI native tools already that we see, for example, Cursor or other that developers use, these tools actually already use chain of thought under the hood. That and you don't even I think have to actually apply this prompting strategy yourself, but it's very, I think, important to know how what it is and how it works. So the first step is in creating a web page is the creating the design, starting with the design. So if you give this prompt to ChatGPT, I'm building a website with React.js and with Next.js, create a wireframe design for the homepage of the company called, let's say, Magic Carpets. Give me three different designs that are modern. I want to see the overall layout of the page. And you mention here the details in this prompt. ChatGPT generates an ASCII art layout. It's very good at being creative. So if you ask ChatGPT to generate an ASCII diagram, it will generate it. And if you give as many details as possible, it will generate even different versions, different designs. If you give, for example, give me three different designs instead of three, if you say seven, eight, it will give new design layout every single time that you regenerate the prompt. It's very good at being creative. So give as many details as possible, and mention the technical details and the technologies that you are going to use. Otherwise, it will not know what technologies it's going to use to build the website. So it's important to mention that it's React.js, Next.js, and the number of the different designs that you want. The next step is the iteration. You ask ChatGPT for edits and changes. And ChatGPT doesn't usually give the best answer the first time. It's um, it's good to ask for more than one example, and iterate by prompting for changes until it's right. So when you ask it to give one example and it doesn't give you the example that you were looking for, or you think is like it looks good, you can ask again and ask for more than one example, and just prompt it until it's right. And then you need to convert the design to code. So you using the ASCII template, you should ask ChatGPT to generate the HTML and CSS for the skeleton of the page. And you should specify the languages and the frameworks that you're using in the prompt. And you will get an output like this, or the generated code. If you run it, you will see this kind of thing. Then you should customize the styles. Here, applying the chain of thought, specify changes as numbered bullet points. For example, in this case, you got this result, but you don't like how it looks. You want to customize it. You want to add more CSS. Here, you mention in the prompt, you give ChatGPT modify the CSS for this page to change the following styles. And in numbered bullet points, you specify what kind of font you want to use, the colors, the rounded corners, everything you specify step by step. This is the chain of thought strategy. This is the prompting strategy that you're going to apply. And then you can create pages based on existing ones. Let's say you created the home page and now you want to create another page. You can create that based on the existing page that you already created. And in the prompt, you're writing, I'm building a web app with React.js using Next.js.
Emma,
Build a
there
content.
is a sorry to interrupt you. There is a question that says, which ChatGPT model are you using?
Uh-huh. So actually, the book was published in December 2024. So it's using 4.0 and 4.0 mini, and now you can use the latest ones. And this actually insights are based on those models. But if you use you apply all of this using the latest ones, actually, you will see a big improvement in the performance. So I would recommend doing that.
My personal opinion is ChatGPT is. I think I don't know what happened. It's been a few couple of weeks I've started seeing. I'm a paid member of that. So yes, what you're saying is correct in most ways, that if you don't give a descriptive prompt, it'll give you a lot of gibberish. And it is becoming very slow in terms of the 4.0. I've tried both 4.0 as well as 4.0 mini. Sometimes it crashes too. So maybe they made some changes to the latest model. Um,
Yeah, I think the performance they improved. Maybe you should try the with the latest ones. But did you apply this chain of thought when you were?
Yes, no, I do, but lately I've seen a little bit. Anybody has experiences, because I do use ChatGPT and I do use Gemini. Most of the times I kind of compare when I try to compare these things. Sometimes ChatGPT on the dot for certain things, but sometimes it is not. And same with
Yeah,
Gemini
Gemini.
too.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that for me also, I think that both are. I don't have. I don't think one is better than the other. Like in some cases, one does. Like they are
Ye-
similar for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. They are very similar, but in terms of particularly when it comes to React, I think I do have certain things that it does not get the answer right away. It starts generating the whole damn thing, so you have to see where
yeah.
it for yeah.
Um, Yeah, I will try to, I think, talk some of these things because we will build something with Next.js, and maybe you will get something useful from it. I hope. I don't know.
uh,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. So
Ed has a thought. He says that ChatGPT has a brain the size of a planet, and all we
yeah.
ask of it is to make websites. Yes, but
Uh,
hey, it's useful, you know. It's people who are new to it, and I've seen mobile engineers trying to use ChatGPT and generate these things. So why not, right?
yeah. Why not? So yeah. In this step, what? Yeah. So what I wanted to say is, if you want to create a new page, you can do that based on the existing ones. All you do is you again use the chain of thought. You write a page heading with the text, send us a message, a form to enter name. So you describe that page, for example, what inputs it's going to have, what buttons it's going to have. And then here, what you should remember is that ChatGPT often forgets parts of the page. So you should include the word remember, and remember to include the social media links in the footer. So with this word, you actually reminded to include these features. And then you paste the code from the existing page here. So this is the prompt for that. And then regeneration of prompts. ChatGPT doesn't generate the same thing every time, and if the first result isn't good, you should try regenerating it a few times to produce better output. So you will get something like this, and then this feature is actually very good. Canvas coding with Canvas is a lot easier. So here you can see I tried it for all, but you can try it with the latest ones. And it is an interactive code editor built into ChatGPT. You can access it from this message part where you're writing the prompt. Manually edit the code and ask ChatGPT for edits. This is important because you will see later why. And Canvas allows to get code review comments. So this makes it a lot easier. Okay, so now let's see practical application of generative AI in creating this fully functioning Next.js story generator app. We will do it with Next.js. We will build it with Next.js and ChatGPT. So in building this, what is this actually? A story generator. It's an app that generates stories, poetry, with illustrations, etc. So there are three key steps in this. The first step is the generation of the UI. The second is the generation of the backend code, and the third step is making edits. So all these concepts that I talked about are you will see now the practical application of it. So the first step is the creation of the UI. So let's understand the structure of this prompt. This is the prompt that you are going to use to create the UI for this app. So the first paragraph says, I'm writing a web page in React using Next.js. The page has an HTML form to collect three text inputs, main character, plot, and ending. The form has a submit button with text generate. This line, I'm writing a web page in React using Next.js, mentions the technical details, the technologies that you are going to use, which is very important because it gives the right context to ChatGPT so that it knows which technologies it needs to use to generate that web page and that code. And if you don't mention, it will use random things. So this gives some context to what kind of app it's going to be, what technologies it's going to use. What character here you give the like the inputs to the HTML form. You describe that it's going to have main character, plot, and ending. This also tells ChatGPT the context, gives the context and tells how it's going to look, the form, how it's going to look like, what it's going to look like, and it's going to have submit button with text generate. So this is just the context. And then here you apply the chain of thought and you give in the next paragraph in the same prompt, you describe how it's going to basically function. The submit button will be disabled when the form is submitted and re-enabled when submission has finished. You want uh, it to be like this. So you want it to be disabled when the form is submitted and then after that re-enabled when it's finished. So you write it in the prompt and then you here y- how it's going to call the function. You mentioned the endpoint, the API endpoint, and each of the three inputs are sent as a post request in the body as JSON. And how this process is going to be when generating the story. So you mentioned it in the second step, and in the second part, and in the third part, you write about the response from the API, what it will be, and in what kind of form you want ChatGPT to generate. You write display this story as text underneath the form, include some CSS also, and output all of this as a single file. So this is the chain of thought prompting strategy, and it's possible that if you, for example, give this prompt to ChatGPT, it um, does not output the code in a single file, or it does not include some CSS styles. You can always write another prompt in the same chat window. Please give me this CSS style, or please put it in a single file, and it will improve the output and give you what you want, if not from the first time. So this is the result: a web page with a form containing the inputs we ask for: main character, plot, and ending. If you want to add another input, you can do that too. You can again give another prompt after this, and ask, please, for example, add this input. um, Generating a story prompt. So let's understand the structure of this code. This prompt: generate a prompt for ChatGPT to generate a story using the parameterized inputs. It should instruct ChatGPT to create a story between 300 and 400 words, and must use all of the three inputs, include instructions to make the story unique and detailed. So what this does is, here the strategy and is the following: you prompt ChatGPT to write prompts, because writing good prompts is not easy. And if you prompt ChatGPT to write prompts, it will give you a better prompt, and you can use that prompt to get what you want. You describe the output. Here, the prompt should be a single paragraph of text. You described the prompt, output the prompt as a JavaScript template string, and no other information. So, uh, the way that you describe is just describing the output format, and also being specific and including the words like no other information, so that it does not give you extra information, because ChatGPT is verbose. So you should be very specific. You should describe the exact output format, and you should prompt ChatGPT to write prompts. So you mention the phrase "generate a prompt for ChatGPT," and then you describe what kind of like story you want, and uh, you also mentioned that you want it to use all the three inputs and include instructions to make the story unique and detailed. So this technique here is generating a story prompt, is prompting ChatGPT to write prompts. So here's the result. It gives you this code prompt to generate a story with the details we specified, and as a template string like we asked. So this is the template string, and this is a prompt. The next step is basically using this prompt to do some manual coding. And this is important, especially in this app and in this like version of models that we use. And in general, when you're using ChatGPT API to do some manual things, write API code manually to avoid hallucinations, because ChatGPT hallucinates. You never like it usually, as I mentioned, its API APIs change all the time, and I mean the versions, and you it usually, like, if you ask something, it will use its previous, like, last version, but they develop all the time, so you might get some hallucinations based on the wrong like versions that you mm, like use, call the wrong APIs. So it's better to do some manual things here, and manually code and call the API. So a working story generator, it looks like this, but if you click on generate, it will not generate a story because we don't have the backend code. we can add another story input. As I so here's how you add another input. You use again chain of thought, and here you write, give me the entire code with all the modifications as one file. It's describing the output format, and here you provide existing code to get refinements. So you already had the code, yes, how to um, add inputs, how to tell ChatGPT how to um, give the inputs that you want, and create the inputs. So you use that code that it generated in the first uh, step in the process that we did. You paste it here and you add this prompt above it. Add a select to the form in this Next.js page to choose the genre of the story. You add a new input, the genre, and you mention 10 story genres. Populate the select with 10 story genres. If you remember, this is the like kind of design part where like ChatGPT, uh, it's good to mention more than like as many um, version like as many inputs as you can. So story genres, if you say select with 10, it's better. If you say even higher number is even better. And then send the selected genre in the API request to generate story. um, you also describe how it's going to function, and then give me the entire code as one file. So this is the result. The genre is added. You can see there, if you click, there will be 10 options. Um, so, yes, generating illustrations with DALI. Actually, this was the backend code generation part where we did this manual coding and calling APIs and then adding another input. So now, if we want to generate AI generated illustrations, we need for illustrations use another OpenAI API called DALI, and we're going to use DALI to generate illustrations. So the first step is generate prompt for DALI. The second, generate the illustration, and the third one, return the image that we are going to display. So the first step, this is again chain of thought. The first step is give the story to ChatGPT to generate a prompt for DALI. If you remember this technique, when we were prompting ChatGPT to write a prompt. Here we're giving the story and we're asking to generate a prompt for DALI. Actually, DALI will not give you generate illustrations if you give a very little text. It you should um, actually, if you give it a long story, so if you give the whole story to DALI, it will not generate the illustration because its prompt length is very limited. So you should use that technique to generate a shorter prompt using ChatGPT, and then give that prompt to DALI to ask it to generate an illustration. And then DALI generates an illustration in the provided style, and it returns an image as base 64. This is the format to display. So this is the prompt, um, and this is the result. Illustrations related to the content are added to our stories. So you can see this illustration. If you want it to generate other illustrations or more than one or different, you can always prompt it again. You can you will always get a different illustration every single time that you generate a new illustration. It will be different illustration. So all of these thoughts are included in my book, and in my book you can find more practical examples and project examples with ChatGPT. You can build language learning app. You can build a blog with custom chatbot with step-by-step examples and more in-depth